Hi, I'm Connor, and this is a weekly series where I take a guitar lick, break it down, and show you how to play it. This week, I'm looking at the Stevie Ray Vaughan inspired blues lick. So, let's take a closer look and I'll show you what's going on. Alright, so for this lick, we're based around the E-flat blues scale. And the reason for that is that Stevie Ray Vaughan played almost exclusively in E-flat tuning, so it sounds really authentic to his sound here. So I'll play the lick slowly for you now and bring up the tab on screen so you can see exactly what's going on. There's a couple of things about this lick that are really Stevie Ray Vaughan inspired. The first being that unison bend that starts us off where we're bending to meet the pitch of the fret underneath, and then following it up with this hammer on and pull off. Both of these things, you'll see Stevie Ray Vaughan use them a lot in solos, especially if you watch his live stuff. And a lot of this comes from Jimi Hendrix's playing, which Stevie Ray Vaughan was really inspired by. In fact, I'd really recommend checking out my Hendrix-inspired lick, and I'll link it up here. The reason for that is because when I was preparing to put this lick together, I actually saw Stevie Ray Vaughan play that exact lick in a lot of live performances. So it's a really good one to know as well. Now, while Stevie was inspired by Jimi Hendrix, he definitely has his own signature sound. You can really hear when something's played by him. And I think the reason for that is his right hand technique. He has this sort of really heavy but loose strumming style that's not afraid to catch these other strings that he's not playing because they're muted, they're not going to ring out. But it adds a lot of percussive feeling. It really helps the groove of the song. It helps keep it together, especially when you consider that he was just part of a three-piece, so there was no rhythm guitar outside of him. So when he's soloing, he's also doing a lot of the keeping the sort of groove of the song going. Another thing about this lick that's really Stevie inspired is this double stop. So you'll hear a lot of double stops in Stevie's solos. So if you're looking to emulate him in any way, just work in those double stops. Quite easy in the first position of the blues scale. Can't go wrong. Another thing about Stevie Ray Vaughan is he used really thick guitar strings. So I'm using gauge 9 strings, which are on the lighter side. He used gauge 13s, which are considered fairly heavy, especially considering the tuning that he was in and the scale length of the guitar that he was using. That's going to be a lot of tension, but he bends the strings like they're nothing, so he had a really sort of strong fretting hand. But a way that you can emulate that sound without breaking your fingers is just playing on these lower strings, especially on the lower frets, because that's something that Stevie Ray Vaughan did as well. If you look at Texas Flood, for example, live performances of that, he spends a lot of his time down there. And that's something that I think makes him stand out from a lot of guitarists. You know, when we think of solos, we think higher up the fretboard, stand out, these sort of hero moments. But studying him as a player, you can see that there's a lot of mileage that you can get out from the lower end, especially for blues, because it's really meaty and really thick and rich sounding. Really good stuff. So that's my lick of the week for this week, Stevie Ray Vaughan. If there's a lick that you want me to look at, either from a song or just an artist in general, comment them down below and I'll have a look. And make sure to check out next week's lick of the week. Thank you.